When you think of Wolverine's greatest rival, your brain goes straight to Sabertooth, right? It's the obvious choice. Two apex predators locked in a cycle of blood and hatred that never ends. Because there is another man, a man whose grudge isn't just hateful, it's poisonous. Meet Arkady, better known as Omega Red. He isn't just a villain. He is a living weapon in a state of constant, excruciating agony. And the worst part, the man responsible for that torture is Logan. Today, we're diving into a rivalry born not from pride or competition, but from a stolen life and a desperate, agonizing need. This is why Omega Red is the most toxic rival Wolverine has ever faced. Before the bleached skin and the metal whips, there was just Arkady. Now, let's get one thing straight. Arkady was never a good man. Born in the heart of Soviet Russia, he used his position as a Spetsnaz soldier for one thing, covering up his appetites as a serial killer. He was already a monster. He just happened to be wearing a military uniform. Then, the mutation hit. Arkady became a biological nightmare. He could secrete deadly pheromones, literal death spores, that could sicken or kill anyone in his vicinity. But power always comes with a price. For Arkady, that price was a parasitic hunger. To survive his own toxicity, he had to drain the life force of others. He didn't just want blood, he was a psychic vampire. Eventually, the Soviet government caught up with him. They didn't execute him, they optimized him. The USSR wanted their own Captain America, but they settled for something much more terrifying. They pushed Arkady through a brutal cyborg enhancement process that bleached his skin ghostly white and amplified his strength to superhuman levels. But the crown jewel? These retractable tentacles forged from carbonadium. Now, here is where it gets technical and deadly. Carbonadium was the Soviet answer to adamantium. It was flexible, but it had a hidden, nasty trait. It is highly radioactive. For most people, that's a death sentence. For Wolverine, it's a hard counter. Carbonadium radiation actively shuts down healing factors. It turns Logan's greatest strength into a liability. But there was a catch. The very metal that made Arkady a god also made him a ticking time bomb. The carbonadium was slowly poisoning him. He existed in a state of permanent gnawing decay. There was only one cure, the carbonadium synthesizer, the C-Synth, a device that could stabilize his condition and stop the pain. Without it, Arkady was trapped in a living hell. And then, enter Team X, 1968, East Berlin, a CIA Black Ops mission. Logan and his crew infiltrate a KG facility to steal technology. They find the C-Synth, they grab it, and they leave. To Wolverine, it was just another successful op. To Arkady, it was the day his life ended. By stealing that device, Wolverine effectively sentenced Omega Red to an eternity of radioactive torture. The Soviets, seeing their weapon become unstable, put him on ice. But hate doesn't freeze, it festers. Decades later, Arkady is thawed out by the Hand. They give him a deal. Hunt down Wolverine and you'll find your cure. This leads to one of the most brutal debuts in X-Men history. Omega Red doesn't just attack the school. He treats the X-Men like obstacles in his way. He kidnaps Logan and drags him back to Berlin, the scene of the crime, for a fight that lasted an unbelievable 17 hours. Imagine it. 17 hours of claw against tentacle, while Omega Red's death spores slowly choked out Logan's healing factor. Arkady wasn't just fighting a battle. He was trying to carve the location of the C-Synth out of Logan's mind. From that point on, Omega Red became Logan's recurring nightmare. He's been stabbed by the Muramasa blade, impaled and blown to pieces, but he always comes back. Why? Because you can't kill a man whose only reason for breathing is the hope of stopping his own pain. In most realities, this cycle never ends. But in the new Ultimate Universe, we finally got a definitive answer. When Logan, armed with a soul-cutting Muramasa blade, confronted Omega Red, he didn't leave it to chance. He ended the feud with one final clean cut, beheading him. It was a powerful statement. Some bonds are too toxic to be repaired, they can only be severed. So, I want to hear from you. Is Omega Red the most personal enemy Logan has ever faced? Or does Sabertooth still hold the crown for the ultimate rival? Drop a comment below and let's argue about it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of mutant history, hit that like button and subscribe. I'm KC with Power Cosmic, and this has been a look into the poison of Omega Red. But before you head back into the light, if you have a taste for cosmic cliffhangers and experimental storytelling, I have something dark coming your way. My newest project, the Black Thread album, arrives May 1st, 2026. Now, it's not just an album, it's a sonic film, an industrial trap descent into cosmic horror where Venom and Null tear their way into the DC universe and Gotham City. Each track is a different perspective, weaving together a narrative of absolute chaos. You can find it on YouTube Music and all major streaming platforms on May 1st. Stay tuned, the void is calling.